You had some experience now with real estate. It was a single family house, a condo. And then interesting that you said you were scared back in 2015. The market was hot, and looking back on it now, we're like, oh, I wish I would have bought in 2015. You
Yeah.
know, and we're in a similar environment now as well. But so you see all this happening, and you're concerned, and you think you're secure, but you've seen otherwise. I mean, even the real estate market was decimated. Mortgage brokers and insurance brokers, they all lost their jobs. Even multi-million-dollar businesses. You're looking at this, going, oh my gosh, that's insane. And so why did you decide to take action, and how did you do it? Did you continue buying a condo once a year, or how did you maybe shift?
Honestly, I think what really helped me is guys like you, Michael. All the free info out there nowadays on podcasts and YouTube and stuff. So I made a switch in my head. I stopped listening to Howard Stern when I'm driving around from appointment to appointment. And I started listening to podcasts and books, right? So I revisited Rich Dad. I started listening to Bigger Pockets, Think and Grow Rich, stuff like that. And
Yeah.
so every day when I'm driving around doing my job, I was in real estate school, right, in my car. And, we're so lucky nowadays to be able to hear everybody's stories. And that sort of, not only does it give you motivation, but it also gives you confidence that, hey, this knucklehead that I heard on the radio, he could do it. I think I could figure it out too, right? So in 2017, I had the three properties. One was my primary, and I was like, I want to buy a fourplex. I had been saving up, saving up, saving up. And a big part of that too is living below your means, right? And so I've got to give credit to my wife and my kids now. Like, we live a modest lifestyle. We're focused on expanding our means, and we keep our living expenses pretty moderate. So that, and to me, it's like every bit of savings is just saving up to invest, right? So I got to the point where I was like, all right, now I want to get a fourplex. And I've got a real estate license. I'm not really acting as a realtor, but I could see everything that comes on the market. I'm trying to buy a property in 2017, and I can't. I'm putting out offers. I'm getting outbid. I'm not on it first, whatever the reason. And finally, I was like, screw it. I'm going to make it happen this weekend. And I told my wife. So we went out and looked at 10 properties for sale. I put an offer on 10 properties, all 10 of them, on a Saturday within like a 4-hour span. I got 4 of them locked up under contract that weekend. I took them all 4 through due diligence. And then I moved forward with 2 that are side by side. I closed on both. I figured out financially how to make it work.
Well, wait a minute. You can't just set out and say, I'm getting deal done. Like, if Garrett could do that, I would say, Garrett, stop screwing around, get a deal done today, right? What was different? Like, explain, did you maybe just overpay to get it done, Pete? Or what was different about that time?
I guess I wouldn't say I overpaid. Actually, oddly enough, on those properties, I got it for asking price. According to my calculations, it's still penciled. It was a decent deal, but the appraisal came in low on those. And so I actually was working with my lender. He's like, Pete, put together your rebuttal, get your comps, all your numbers. So I put together my rebuttal. My lender told me it was the best appraisal rebuttal he had ever seen. We got the appraiser to raise it. So it went through with no extra out of pocket. And this year, so I did no major capital improvements. Those are just cash flow, C-class properties. This year, I did a cash out refinance, took all my money out, and now I'm infinite on those properties, which, almost didn't appraise back then, right?
Yeah. So and so Pete and I know each other fairly well. We're in EO together. And he's like, hey, should I got this situation where I can do a cash out refinance, and I think I can get all my money out. He's like, should I do it or just keep paying down the loan? And I'm like, Pete, that's the holy grail, man. That's what you want to do. You want to take that out and go buy a couple more properties. And so I don't know if that was, the first time that you kind of had experience. Was it the first time, Pete?
Yeah, it's the first time I did a full on. So I've done some burrs, right? But I was able to take all my money out. And this one was just the market appreciation. Really, I did no major improvements to it. I just sat on it. We made some money on them and worked out.
Yeah. So he did the cash out refinance, and then you went and that's the beauty, obviously, of multifamily as well, is that it's easier to do that. And then he went in and what did you just kind of took off like a rocket ship. It was like a late law, the first deal. This guy just started cranking through them. And Pete sent me a picture of, he's got a really cool thing on the wall. It's like all these keys, and it was his daughter hanging a new set of keys up on, that's all his tenants, a new set of keys up on the wall. It was really cool. I thought, and I was like, man, that's so inspiring that, you went from that stage and just kind of slowly worked it to get to where you're at right now. So at what point did you actually become financially free from your real estate rentals?
I mean, I guess technically it was this year. So in 2018, I set a 5-year goal for myself to hit a certain amount in rental income. That's how the keyboard came together. And it all, actually, I owe it to, I would say I owe it to the Miracle Morning, that book. And I started doing that every day for 90 days. And I really got focused and I got clear. And that's when I set myself a financial freedom goal. And so for me, financial freedom at that time looks like 20,000 a month in rental income. We live off of about 10. So I figured if I can double it, I would be financially free. But just this year, we crossed the 10,000 mark, and we're a little bit, more. So God forbid, if I got hit by a bus and we had to fold down the businesses, but we still had the properties, my family would be able to pay the bills and they'd be okay. And that right there is a huge sense of security. It's not like I'm going to, go sell the businesses right now and start traveling the world. Right. But to me, that's like level one financial freedom. It's security. And now
how does that feel, Pete? How does it feel to say that? Because I think we kind of, we were having our pre-call with you and we're like, yeah, you're financially free. You're like, I'm financially free. Actually.
Yeah, I didn't realize it. And it's funny because my goal was set higher, but it's definitely a milestone in my life, something that I want to remember. And I'm definitely proud of now that I've thought about it. But again, my goals are higher than that, right? There's a lot more that I want out of life. And, money it's a tool that allows me to do good things for other people. And for me to be able to do good things for other people, I need to keep moving forward. My lifestyle hasn't changed much. And when I had the 20,000 in mind, it was pretty much similar to where we were in 2018 when this started versus now. I mean, like I said, we live a moderate lifestyle. I mean, we got a house in the suburbs. It's nothing fancy. We drive, Hondas, and Garrett knows me. I'm fairly cheap, right? Like he likes to go out to nice restaurants and
yes, he does.
I'm okay with Chipotle. You know what I mean? I feel weird at fancy restaurants. But that's just, us. Like part of that stems back from, I guess, when I was younger, I think the book was The Millionaire Next Door. And it kind of taught me that it's okay to be wealthy and just look like an average Joe, right? I mean, I don't buy fancy clothes. So when I look at 20,000 a month, that's assuming a lifestyle that costs me about 10 grand a month, that with a $10,000 buffer. You figure 5,000 for CapEx, unknown repairs, vacancy or whatever for the properties, and then $5,000 buffer for traveling, maybe increased living expenses or whatever. Lately, actually, I've been thinking about that number a lot. That number was established 3 years ago, and I'm on track to hit it. I'm not there, but I'm on track to hit it. But I think I'd be a lot more comfortable if I got that number to
30K. That's kind of a number, a bigger number for you. And one thing that I thought of was, I used to be like a lot of people when they get money or they make money, they elevate their lifestyle. I think so many people they do that, definitely that's just how I was. It was like, oh, I made 10 grand. Let's go buy a new car. Let's go do something like that. And then I had a big event happen. Eventually, like I got, I got kicked down through my big business exit at a certain point. And I had to figure out how to live like beneath my means. I started building habits around that. And so Pete, what I think with you, it's like you've lived this certain way for a while. these habits, these things that are instilled in your head through everything, even if those things start to exceed and hike up, you may not, you may have it set where you're going to elevate things. It doesn't mean you're blowing it out and matching that passive income style. Same thing. I have a cousin who was poor for like 10 years, getting his doctor's, his PhD. And now he's making boatloads of money. He still lives like he was poor, like completely poor. So much so that he would go to the Six Flags Great America to get meals because they have an unlimited meal pass. Like how weird is that? Like crazy stuff.
One of the things that really helped me manage that, I'm a business owner. We've got a fairly successful business, and at the beginning of that, you just take owner draws whenever you need, whatever. So at a certain, several years ago, I talked to my wife. I said, look, I'm going to pay myself a salary, and this is what we're going to live on from here on out. We need to make it work, because every month, I don't know what we're going to bring in. I mean, painting is a type of business. You eat what you kill. You only get paid when you sell a job and you produce it profitably, right? And that doesn't always happen. So I established a salary, and we've been living off of that salary and making that budget work, right?
You mentioned it several times that you're talking to your wife. I mean, let's not gloss over this thing. How do you and your wife get on the same page, right? Because you can be, watching your dollars doesn't mean your spouse is watching it, right? Just because you want this financial freedom doesn't mean your spouse wants it. How do you get on the same page with your wife and your family?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, just by communicating, she kind of knows, she doesn't really, she doesn't really go after buying properties. She doesn't really have the same big dreams that I do, but she understands them, and she sees the potential of our future together as a family, and she's on board. She's not high maintenance. She doesn't need a lot of fancy things. She wants me to be available with the family. And she wants a good family dynamic, and it works out really well. I'm really blessed. Because I know other people that are in similar situations, and their cost of living is way higher than ours. And to me, everything that I can save is another property or another investment that I can put money into that's going to help our family in the future. You know what I mean? And so she's on board, and I wouldn't be able to do it without her. That's for sure.
What you have now is you have options. I mean, you like the option of exiting is there. You didn't have that option before, and that's really what financial freedom is all about. Is options. And no one I know becomes financially free and sits on the beach. Like, they might do that for a month or two, but long term, like that's awful. Like retirement, the idea of retirement. Like, I don't know anyone that does that. In fact, most people who are financially free work more and harder than they did even before, because they're doing it on their own terms. And so that's a main reason that people want to become financially free, is to give them more control of their time and also give them more options. So if you were to think about what advice would you give someone that wants to do what you've done? You want to start doing some deals and start progressing to be larger, cover the living expenses. Like, what do you think would be really useful for someone listening or watching this?
The biggest thing that helped me get where I'm at right now is daily focus, right? So I mentioned the Miracle Morning was a big impact in my life. And although I don't do, everything every day, I've got my vision board up every day. I've got my affirmations written out. I used to actually speak them every day. I found an app to where I could record them. I listen to them every day. I meditate every day. I work out as much as I can. I keep my mind and my body, and I'm focused. When I meditate, I'm thinking about, my businesses, all the businesses. And part of that is getting to financial freedom. What does that look like? So it has become a part of my daily life. And I might not be analyzing properties every day, but I'm constantly thinking about all the businesses, what I want my life to be like in the future, and getting to this, my 20K target, which is a 5-year goal. I set that 5-year goal, and that's what my daily focus is. So if I were to speak to somebody younger getting started, I would say set a 5-year goal and make it your daily habit to be completely focused and driven on getting to it.